for the co-founder and CTO at Vault Games, João Albuquerque. Yeah. We'll go as well for the Chief Product Officer at VU Inc., Nuno Rivotti. Yeah. CEO and founder at Red Cat Pig Studio, now you can see his face, Marco Bettencourt. And to moderate this roundtable, a big applause for the founder and executive manager at WOW Systems, Miguel Campos. There's a lot of money on the table. Good work.
Is this on? Yeah. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to one more edition of Madeira Blockchain Roundtable on Gaming and Blockchain. Just a quick disclaimer. Mauricio, Mark is from Yakuba, tends to invite me to roundtables on blockchain and gaming, but I'd probably the guy in the room that knows the least about blockchain. So that's the idea, yeah. It's like a training session for me. But I want to thank you the opportunity, Mauricio, for inviting, and it's really good to see the growth of the conference, and I'm looking forward for next year. And it's also a pleasure to work with you and the eGames Lab project. And when I see Mauricio, I remember JFK, famous speech on Rice University. We choose to go to the moon on this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And I think this is a good mindset for everyone here. And if you have the opportunity to work with Mauricio and talk with him, you'll see all these crazy ideas. Let's just hope that our spaceship doesn't crash, okay? Okay, so today we're talking about Web3 games and the transition of blockchain to this sector. Luckily, I'm joined by three very talented people, Marco, Nuno, and João. And I'll start off with like really basis, like 101 blockchain gaming for dummies, like myself. What are the advantages and opportunities that blockchain can bring to game developers and game users in general? Who wants to pick up? Maybe João?
So thanks for having me. So basically, and you know, I'll talk a little bit about my experience in Vault Games because we're a mobile gaming focused company, and so a lot of mobile games are really asset driven, you know, for better or worse. You know, if you see, you know, the top grossing mobile games or the more hardcore mobile games, you know, they are all about, you know, paying for certain characters or certain weapons. And I think that, you know, with NFTs or you know, with blockchain technology, you can enhance their experience and give players the freedom to, you know, not only own their assets, but as well trade them and do with them whatever they want. So yeah.
And your experience, Nuno, how do you envision the advantages and actually the risks too?
No, I totally agree. It's one of the biggest advantages of Web3 in gaming is ownership. And it really is going to change the paradigm of how players manage their own portfolio of the games they played. It's the beginning of accumulating virtual assets as real assets. So you start to basically get rich just because you had the luck of being a good player. So esports, almost every type of game can actually be very, they can grow. The mindset of who develops these games can grow a lot by integrating what Web3 and any kind of blockchain technology in the future can deliver to how games are played and our games are felt. It's kind of a sentiment that the old type of games will kind of disappear by converting players into a kind of a profession, being a player. And we're not talking about the esports, we are talking about just being a player alone at home. That's what I think blockchain can actually create as a change, block change.
Okay, very well. Marco, do you want to add something? I know you want.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer was already done. I mean, digital ownership, it's the main advantage. If you're talking about the player's point of view, if you're talking about the dev's point of view, and that's a point of view that usually is not, it's not shown, but for the dev's point of view, there is a lot of difficulties. So in terms of advantages for the game developers, that, well, it's a cool technology, but it's very hard in terms of not only implementation, but also, I mean, it's a new technology. There is not a lot of seniors. I mean, there is no seniors working in this space. And if you say that you're a senior working on Web3, come on, you're lying. You're not. So there is not a single senior working on this space, on the tech side of things, which makes things a bit harder, but also challenging and super exciting. And just to give you guys a little fact that happened today, and it shows how we should learn from each other and from whoever is trying to build, even during difficult times. So I have two members of my game design team here, right? I have Alexandre and I have João. They were here earlier, and yesterday they were giving a workshop down there. And there was a person that came in to watch the workshop and ask them their seniority. They were honest and they said, "We are juniors." They left because they didn't want to listen to juniors. So that's the wrong mindset, first of all, because there is always something to learn from each other, always. And my juniors have been kicking ass since the beginning of this whole thing. So on the dev side point of view, there's a lot of challenges, a lot. And let's not talk about the backlash that a Web2 studio receives when it announces that they're working on Web3. So there's the tech side of things that are very hard, and that's also the backlash from the community, because as was mentioned here several times before, gamers don't like Web3. They just don't. Okay, so let's change the narrative and let's bring them to Web3. That's my main goal here.
Yes, we know that gaming community is very sensitive. Let's put it that way. From a video game developer perspective, guys, which advice do you give, like for us, for instance, for a while, we develop Unreal Engine video games, basic games, but we don't have like internal know-how on blockchain technology. If we want to go that way, what would be easier, like subcontract, get training in-house? What do you advise in terms of your own experience? João, you were talking about Vault games.
Yeah, so actually, and piggybacking on what Marco said, because he brought some really valuable points, I think that as a game developer, and you believe in Web3 and you believe in the change and benefits that it can bring to the video game space, but at the same time, you don't really want to build anything from scratch. You know, you don't have any blockchain developers, so people with knowledge. And a lot of hardships that we had as well in Volt was finding, companies that really wanted to work with us a long time. And when I say this is, for example, I didn't really want to develop, a marketplace from scratch that could easily connect to a mobile app, inside the web store that could work with Google and Apple policies and everything. And it was really hard for us, to find companies with products that would want, or they all wanted to work with us, but either they weren't working for long enough for us to try to implement their tool, or their tool didn't have everything that we had. So in terms of difficulties, that was our main difficulty, because we didn't want to build a technology from the ground up. and it was really hard to find people with good technology to work with, basically. Yeah.
That's why blockchain's been around like for 14 years, maybe, more or less. But you don't see, and we've discussed this previously. We don't see like a big adoption rate within the gaming industry of blockchain yet. Do you think it's like there are just too many hurdles? It's just attractive. Like Nuno was talking earlier about AAA studios. Yeah, we're just good as it is, or we're not rating it. But like for indie developers, still you don't see like a lot of traction.
Yeah, I think that, as Nuno said, I think that the big players don't really want to move the needle because, they're good as they are, and, if some other, smaller studio kind of figures it out, they just can piggyback on him and just work with it. But yeah, so I just think that, the industry is such in an infant state as well. I think it kind of benefited a lot from that, enormous growth that we saw, like 2020 and 2021. But it kind of, as well, I think for people, it seemed like it reached a maturity that it didn't really reach. So I think that we still have a lot of progress in terms of available B2B technology to be used in games. And I think that with that, there's going to come, certain blueprints that people are going to use on game development, and those are going to work. But it's, it takes time.
And yourself, Marco, on Red Cat, you've been working with blockchain and video game development. How's that going, and what are the main difficulties right now?
Okay, I'm gonna try to explain without crying. I'm joking, by the way. Now, so I founded Red Cat Pig in 2019, just to give you a little bit of a context, to work on web2 games, so traditional games. So we work on our initial IP, Kyo, and I mean, things were doing great. And we kind of took the opportunity to jump to web3 because of, well, a bunch of other studios requested our help to deliver good games using web3. That was a time when finally blockchain players realized that in order to make a game, maybe I should get a game developer. So, because on an early stage, you had actually blockchain engineers trying to build games, and we all know how that ended up. So we took the opportunity to get to know this technology. One of the hardest things was to talk to my internal team and to try to make them see that this is just a technology and can bring a lot of good things to gamers, can bring a lot of good things to games, but it's just a matter of, I keep saying this, you just have to change the narrative. The narrative, it's all messed up, it's all wrong for gamers, and they're not understanding the technology. They are not understanding the concept. So once I was able to make my team see that blockchain, it's an added value for any game, things got easier. So then we started working with a lot of studios, basically helping them building their games. But as I mentioned earlier, even backlash on social media we've been getting, because we were supposed to be a traditional Portuguese game dev studio, and we are working on Web3 games. So, but I mean, it's manageable, and we are doing our best. But long story short, it's very exciting. There's a lot of good things coming, and I believe we did the right thing, and properly done, you're gonna see a lot of good games coming out. A lot of good games, as long as they are properly done with the right mindset, which is, and I mean, my game designers, and we keep talking to each other about that, which is gameplay first. Tokenomics comes later. Gameplay first, all the time. Because without organic retention, you don't have a game. And you need to have that organic retention that only comes because the game is good. Otherwise, you don't have organic retention. So, yeah.
Yeah, like Nuno was said on his talk, keep the fun on the equation. Nuno, you're being a really creative guy. Obviously, blockchain gaming have very, very primary and very basic advantages, like the ownership that we've talked. But are there other not so mainstream, not so evident advantages, like using blockchain to avoid cheating or fraud with in-game? There are several other topics and areas that developers can exploit.
Yes, of course. So any kind of utility that the blockchain can have for example, identity verification, transaction verification. And when we say transactions, we're not saying currency or money or anything. It's just communication from A to B. So any of the features that the blockchain offers, for example, to the finance industry is applicable in security systems in video games. And there are a lot of video games that really require that kind of thing. It is usable as anti-piracy systems, for example, can be used anti-cheating systems in a way that users can have multiple accounts to create proxy traders into games to create more items or valued items and trick the system into exploiting bugs. So all those things can be kind of avoided using blockchain. So there are many usages. It's not just ownership. I think blockchain will really change the way that the industry manages the assets. And when I say assets, I'm actually saying the video game itself, the products, and not the virtual assets. But I wanted to add something also to the previous question, or the previous answer from Marco. And yes, we receive backlash from the community about using blockchain. In my company, I also feel it. I had plenty of examples of how community reacts badly of any idea of introducing blockchain. But the truth is, it's not relevant. Players don't need to know that we have blockchain. Players don't even need to know what we do. They just need to perceive the product. One of the biggest mistakes that I feel in the Web3 space when I go to forums and I talk with other people is that every time that people try to explain to me why blockchain is so good, I kind of have to read a manual and keep updated, because the last thing they talk about is what can I do with it in like normal terms. I don't need to know about the technology to use it. Once that is true, the Web3 is basically solid and here to stay. When I have to explain, yes, it's Web3, then no, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So I think that's the pivot, that's the twitch that the industry needs to face. Just like before, other type of technologies never were accepted until you stop talking about them.
So it's like a marketing issue, basically.
No, I don't think it's a marketing issue. I think it's a passion issue, because Web3, blockchain, all of these are emerging technologies, and people that are exploring these technologies, they love what they do, and they see a lot of potential, a lot of utility, and they want to apply it, and they want to explain how to do these things. They want to improve them. They want to upgrade the usage of the blockchains. They want to create new systems, new processes. And what is best about doing that is being able to explain how they got there. But people are not really interested. They want to use the product in the end. They don't care how it is done. The only people that care how it is done is us here.
No, sorry. 1 year ago, I was here at the first Madeira Blockchain in Mauricio. You probably remember that. I said, let's kill the buzzwords. And I keep saying, let's kill the buzzwords. Just stop using buzzwords. Jesus Christ. We all know there is a new technology. We all know what is NFTs and proprietary technology. And you're not going to sell games using the buzzwords. You're not going to sell games using the buzzwords. So I keep saying this. They don't need to know. I totally agree with you. They don't need to know there is Web3. They don't need to know there is blockchain. I mean, what you need to know is that if you buy this skin, it's yours. You want to sell it tomorrow? Sell it. It's your problem. You're going to make money or you're going to lose money, it's up to you. I don't care. That's what they need to know. That's it.
Yeah.
You want to add something, João? I see you shaking.
Actually, I had the same problem as well. You know, when I started pitching, you know, we basically built a web3 game, called Metastar Strikers. We wanted to bring, you know, a more arcadey football experience to the mobile, and we thought that, you know, using collectibles, we initially called them NFTs when we did the pitch, and then we kind of switched to collectibles just because we didn't want to use those buzzwords. And it was funny because it's completely in line with what Marco and Nuno said. We thought it could, you know, enhance the experience, and we started using all the buzzwords we wanted or we could, and then we noticed that, you know, it wasn't doing anything for us, and we really believed in the technology, so we stopped using them completely, and we just, you know, started, you know, saying collectibles and you know, similar words. And I think that, for example, I think that the collectibles that Reddit uses, I think, are a great, you know, example of them never mentioning anything Web3, and it actually worked pretty well, and everybody used it, and they never knew what it was. So yeah.
Okay. So what do you guys think are like the next steps to make this transition more smooth and make it happen in fact? Like, obviously there are technical issues. Like, it's very nice to hear, ownership of the asset and moving around from one game to another. But yeah, we've talked today about it. It's not just that easy and that possible because visual styles, because like agents, game agents are different, etc. How are we going to make it happen? Do you have an idea? So what would be like good next steps to potentiate this transition?
Yeah, so I think that you know, the technology needs, you know, there needs to be more tools that facilitate, you know, developers' jobs in terms of blockchain technology. You know, we basically wrote our own contracts. I wrote some of the smart contracts myself, and I don't know any. At the time, you know, I'm not a junior blockchain developer now, so at the time I didn't. There's not a word to describe what I was. So yeah. And I think that it should be, you know, facilitated through tools and resources available to the developers. And I think that, as Marco Nuno said, you know, you just need to develop the game first and consider how can that technology enhance, if it can enhance the experience. And basically that's it. I don't think that there's going to be, you know, a certain type of how do you say, way to do it, or way to, you know, kind of climb this hurdle. I just think that there will be people who have the technical experience, both game development and blockchain wise. They will release a game, it will work pretty well, and people will be sold on it. So yeah.
So it's just a matter of keep pushing it. Marco and Nuno, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I will add something, but I think it's a bit more of the same. I do think we just have to wait, to be honest. Good games will emerge. So talented people across the world are actually creating great projects that have, if they have the necessary support and the necessary adoption, they will basically prove that blockchain is not the big devil of the game developers that will going to destroy the industry and make players miserable. No, actually, they can be very fun products using blockchain. What I think is it needs to be deployed like 1, 2, or 3 games that prove that the player mind can actually accept it as a game they want to play, independent of having blockchain or not. It's a game I would play. And the moment that I have my doubt as a player saying, I will play this game, but because there's blockchain, I'm not, then we have crossed the barrier. Because a player, if they like a game, they will play the game. It doesn't really care what else. What is the barrier for them? They will play the game. The question, the problem until now is there are no games that are appealing to players. So the only thing that remained is the blockchain, and that's not appealing.
that's the gap, Marco, that you at Red Cat is trying to bridge. Like you were saying that people came from blockchain were doing games, but just for
I mean,
monetizing.
whatever blockchain is adding to a game, it's a feature. It's not the game. It's a feature. So if we have this mindset, we're going to get there. And it's all about massive adoption. I mean, we talked earlier about Steam and about Epic allowing games to have web3 components on it. So it's all a matter of massive adoption. I also believe that we need a hit. Blockchain needs a hit, needs a game that can prove that it's good, not because it has blockchain, but because it's a good game and it was made by a good team. But also, one more important factor is the fact that while you keep building games that you need to open a web page, create a wallet, then connect the wallet to the game, then you're never going to get players on your game. Never. Players don't want to. Players don't care about wallets. Players don't carry wallets. Players don't want to go to all this huddle of Jesus Christ. I just want to play the game. I just want to play the game. So this aspect of the technology, it's also missing, which is creating. There is a lot of good signs out there that we are very close to perfection. Let's say, which is I'm going to a game and it's seamless. Connects to my wallet. I can do whatever I want to do with the NFTs or whatever. Because at the moment you try to explain a gamer that they have to create a wallet, you lost him. You lost it. You totally lost it. So that's very important to me too. It's create that seamless experience. Like going to the game, like Nuno was saying, I mean, I don't need to know that it has blockchain or Web3 or whatever. I just want to have fun. And if I buy, again, using the example of the skin, if I buy the skin and this skin is actually mine, Jesus Christ, even better. I loved it. I love it.
So let's skip to the basics of gaming. Fun, blockchain as a feature and enhancement, and we will be fine. We are running out of time, so maybe we'll go to open questions to the public. As this is an open debate, if someone wants to pitch in and put some questions out there, feel free. Come on, this is a game. Okay, we have one over there.
Hey, what are the main features you guys see being applied for games using blockchain technology?
Wanna go? Yeah, I mean, my opinion is the biggest asset is digital ownership. That's the biggest thing you can get. Nowadays, and this was mentioned earlier, you have people selling and buying accounts on the black market of, I don't know, skins for CSGO, weapons and that kind of stuff, because they can't sell the skins, so they sell their accounts. It's totally wrong, but that's what people is doing. So, I mean, if you can create a platform to legalize it, it's amazing. Amazing. To me, it's the biggest feature, is that.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mark. I think there are some, additional more niche features, just like, for example, the usage of smart contracts allows you to have, lifetime achievements, regarding the usage of your NFT. And so you can easily have that computed every time you use the NFT in the game or every time you use, the asset. Additionally, I think, for example, a lot of mobile games tend to, when they launch, they have a really high user base. And then, every time in their anniversary, they do, amazing events where people return. And from what I usually experience is a lot of people tend to not play the game that much afterwards, after the anniversary, because they tend to be so overwhelmed of the things they miss, the characters that only appeared on a certain event, the stories that they couldn't do. And a lot of, blockchain technology could fix that in the sense that, okay, I got into the game, 1 year after, there's a lot of assets that I don't own. I really want to to acquire them. I can go to a marketplace and I can experience, all the events that came before it, and you had to have, a specific collectible to access them. So a lot of these niche cases also can improve, the gaming experience as well.
Actually, I think ownership is great, but it's a bit overrated. I think that what blockchain can actually change in the industry for all games is cross-game collaboration. And it is something that is not explored, so feel free to do it. But I'm not talking about bringing assets between different platforms. That's a great dream. Go ahead. Maybe we get there sometime. But having players playing their own games cooperatively in different platforms, in different games, but still going from the same objective, maybe that's something that can change how communities see different products, different genres, but can still play together. And I think that can change a lot of mindsets.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? You have one down here.
Hi, thank you guys. I would like to ask, from a developer point of view, and trying to make this a little bit more technical, what are the requirements you need as a game developer from a blockchain solution? What are the requirements or the needs you are looking for when you are looking for a partner or a blockchain partner? What are the requirements?
Because I believe that everyone should stick to what they know. I love all the I love all the partnerships that can be done with like one kind of. It's there's a lot of solutions out there already. I lost my train of thought, but there's a lot of solutions out there where you can have like a one-stop shop for everything. Smart contracts, connections to the wallet, and marketplaces, and that you just plug into your game. Now, that doesn't mean that this is the perfect solution. I'm not saying this. But what I'm saying is that once those set of tools are improved and becomes the standard, it would make a lot easier to get even more games on the blockchain. Now, why this is important? Because most of the, since the big players are not willing to take the step, to take that leap of faith, some of them tried, but backlash were so big that they just, returned to their original industry, let's say. There's a lot of indie games out there. A lot of indie games. And the indie market is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the easier you make those games start using Web3 features, the better. They need to be super easy. Those guys, they don't have money to pay for a blockchain engineer. No, they badly can pay their own people. But that doesn't mean that they don't have the talent. You see indie games out there, they're so good, so good. So once you get that set of tools ready to go, plug and play to their games, and once they have that mindset of, all right, let's try to, because it's not a simple copy paste, but they also need to have a little bit of knowledge about tokenization, of course, and their tokenomics behind it. I'm pretty sure that you're gonna have better games out there on this on the Web3. That's what I'm looking for. And actually, and now it's a good time to plug something in. Our partner Yakuba is building some really cool stuff regarding to this sector, and we've been also working together in a few aspects to deliver better products on that specific area. Okay, did I talk too much? No? If I did, I'm sorry.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I can add just one simple thing, which is I would like a blockchain partner that would work together with me, but I would basically never announce this partner to my users. They will never find out that I'm partner with that blockchain because there was no need to. I think that's what I'm looking for in a blockchain partner.
João, do you want to? You're good. You're full. Okay. Anyone else over there?
If you think the blockchain games don't need that tag on it, why you also believe that we need a hit from a blockchain game? If by the end of the day we are just games?
Wait, sorry, was that for me?
For one, so...
Oh yeah, you're fire, man. Sorry, you don't need to come back tomorrow. But no, but for real, I didn't get the question.
If you think blockchain games don't need that tag on it, why you also believe that we need a reference hit on the market?
To bring critical mass. Unfortunately, big names like Blizzard and Activision and all of those big guys out there, they have a lot of power. Not only because of their money, but because of their, well, they have a lot of followers. And once they do something, it's almost like having a seal of approval. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that I agree, but that's what happens. Once one of those studios release something that, I mean, for example, Square Enix, everybody knows Square Enix. Square Enix sold all their IPs, including Lara Croft and others out there, and they were very vocal, saying that from now on, we will only work on Web3. Of course, backlash was massive, but they're still trying to do their thing. I don't see any game yet coming out from them, but they are, I mean, they have a lot of experience, and they are a huge name on the gaming sector, so let's wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. I just think that, you know, for us, we need that big blockchain gaming hit to remove the blockchain before the gaming, because if we only release, you know, bad games, they're always gonna be associated with blockchain. And to, you know, to have that hit comes, and then a lot of other games coming as well, you know, people will stop labeling them blockchain games because they will just be good games coming using a certain technology. But we need those first good blockchain games to stop using, you know, the blockchain.
Yeah. Do you feel the need to say that your game is an Unreal game, or it's a Unity game? Do you feel that need?
Not at all. Not at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
it's
thing.
Same principle.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Gamers know.
I mean, a game it's a game. That's
It's
all.
done in Unreal, not Unity, man.
Yeah. A game it's a game. It doesn't matter the technology, the platform, or whatever. A game it's a game.
Yeah. I'm not sure if there's any more questions. I can't see very clear now.
There's one right there.
There's one over there.
Good afternoon. I would like to ask something about the specific game. If you, any of you or all of you know about Mars 4, and if it's anything of relevance, if it's interesting, if it fits your narrative, if you could say something about it.
What's the name of the game?
Mars 4.
Mars 4?
It's the NFTs of the Mars, planet Mars.
I don't know the game, I'm sorry.
So I'm the only one investing on it.
You're probably the only one. I'm sorry, man. But keep going.
Yeah, you are a early bird. Probably you get tokens with discount.
What can I say? You must. I can't explain what the game is all about. I'm sure somebody here knows what it is, but I'm sure you've heard of it. No, that's fine. I'll investigate more somewhere else. Thank you.
Okay. More people? No? Are we done?
That's a good marketing strategy, by the way. Now everybody's going to Google it. I see you, man. I see you.
Okay. Okay, if there's no more questions left, I think I don't see anyone. I want to thank you guys once again, Marco, Nuno, João, for being here, and all the audience for the great questions and the laughs. And hope you see you again next year.